So Cam Thomas is a Milwaukee Buck. We had reports that the Bucks were one of the two teams the Nets were in trade talks with over Cam Thomas. However, nothing materialized, which is ultimately unfortunate, but it was clear the Nets weren't going to get a first-round pick for Thomas, and the Bucks don't really have any seconds to offer, nor young pieces they would want to part ways with as they anticipate the potential of a Giannis move. And in many ways, Cam Thomas can help out the Bucks in both fronts of their situation. First, Thomas is only 24 to 25 years old. He's not the youngest player, however, in a potential Giannis move, he is a young piece you could theoretically pair around Ryan Rollins and other pieces as your young core going forward. Second, as many reports suggest, I think the Bucks see the potential for a great spark plug off the bench that could assist in moments where Giannis has to sit. But as a Nets fan, I have seen obvious reasons why this might not work out how the Bucks organization wants or in a way the Bucks fans can hope for. And if you want to support the channel, it's obvious that the best way to do so is by subscribing and hyping the video. But shameless plug aside, let's get back to the video. Now, I really want to specify that, like Cam Thomas, I enjoy watching him as a fan. But I do think there are completely valid criticisms for his play style. I mean, in my most recent video, I focused more on the Nets trade deadline and why the Nets waived Cam Thomas, with the Nets wanting to get more pieces that could either add to their overall height, defensive identity, and improve their three-point spacing. Things Cam Thomas aren't. Cam Thomas isn't a great defender, he isn't a great three-point shooter, but I'm also an advocate that those issues don't mean Cam Thomas would be a bad fit, especially in a place like Milwaukee. The Bucks have size, but what they really lack is a scoring punch. Even if Thomas isn't a great three-point shooter, in a season where Thomas is playing off the bench and within a reduced role for Brooklyn, he's still putting up 15.6 points and 3.1 assists. I mean, if you're getting those stats out of a six-man, you'd think he should still be in conversations for six-man of the year. But he isn't. Now granted, it's probably because the Nets are really bad this year, but there are other issues. I mean, it's no secret that Cam Thomas is a negative playmaker, often only kicking out the ball when he's being double-teamed. He doesn't really use his high-scoring gravity to generate open looks for his teammates. And sure, there is nothing inherently wrong with a score-first guard, but a score-first guard who can't playmake or space the floor or defend, it's a very specific skill set. A fun one to watch when you put up 40 on a given night, but not one that easily translates to winning basketball anymore. Especially when Cam Thomas isn't even a good off-ball scorer. Like, I genuinely tried for a decent chunk to look for Cam Thomas's off-ball stats, and I couldn't find anything. Instead, I'm finding search results and AI assistants that specified they can't show me the off-ball numbers, but instead can show me that Cam Thomas' usage rate was in the top 3% of all players this season. So yeah, Cam Thomas is such an on-ball focused player that even search engine assistants don't want to bother looking into him off-ball. Is Cam Thomas going to be okay with standing in the corner for a corner three after Giannis or Rollins kicks it out to him? Are Bucks fans ready to see possessions where Cam Thomas doesn't pass the rock to open teammates so he can instead take a tough contested shot instead? And granted, this is a gross exaggeration, and I can see Cam Thomas trying to work on these areas of his game. Again, I'm a firm believer that Cam Thomas can be a winning player for a playoff caliber team who needs a spark plug off the bench. And I think Cam Thomas could be one of the greatest six men we ever see. And I think the Bucks are aware of that upside too. The problem is, Cam Thomas doesn't really seem to realize that. On January 23rd, 2026, the Brooklyn Nets lost to the Boston Celtics, 130 to 126 in double overtime. In the game, Cam Thomas put up 7 points and 4 assists. Nothing great, but hey, not all games can be perfect. Well, come to my attention that there were reports that allegedly claimed that Cam Thomas was unhappy with his current role off the bench, so he decided to protest by not scoring in the pivotal final minutes of the game. Cam Thomas, thinking he is Kobe Bryant, decides to protest in a key game. And I get the Nets should be tanking, but do you know how frustrating that is to hear? Now maybe, Cam Thomas proves everyone wrong with a new situation. A new promise at a max deal. Cam Thomas enjoys his role as a spark plug off the bench, helping the second unit for when Giannis gets to sit out. Like, sure, there may be some games where you can start Cam Thomas alongside Giannis and they could maybe figure it out. But I'm looking at the Bucks' guard depth, And I'm wondering, should Thomas start over KPJ or Ryan Rollins? Rollins is putting up 17 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 5.5 assists, shooting 40% from the three-point line. KPJ, I might have issues with the guy for his off-the-court behavior, but he still puts up 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 7.5 assists. Both of these guards are just, in my opinion, better than Cam Thomas. Thomas might be putting up more points if you give him the same minutes as these guys, but at best, your playmaking drops by 2 assists and at worst by 4. As many people say, if Cam Thomas was in the NBA 20 years ago, this kid could have been one of the greatest ISO scorers of the deadball era 2000s. However, it's the 2010s. If you cannot have a multi-layered aspect to your game, you are a liability in the starting position. I like Cam Thomas, I believe in Cam Thomas, but I do think these concerns are important to consider. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. This has been Above the Net, and I'll see you all next time.